Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Elly.
Welcome to the Ryan and Elly show. Today we want to talk a little bit about like when you've got like a specific goal and you're working towards that goal or a deadline, should we say, and what happens once that deadline's gone. But before that, I thought it'd be quite funny to share because like...
Do I look flustered?
Sometimes we may look like we've got our shit together when you see us and we'll do like these podcasts and whenever we do anything, like whenever we do stuff together, we sort of look like we've got it together, don't we? I think.
Do we
sort
though?
of.
Do we look like we have our stuff together?
I don't know. I think we come across. People tell us we come across like we do. Anyway, just every time before we do a podcast, there'll be literally like we do run our times on.
No, this is what it's like working and living with you.
Yeah.
Is you love to just throw things at me, like right, ready, like we're rolling in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yeah, so literally it is a bit like that. So we've been a bit hectic. Life has been carnage. We have put out there committed that we're going to do a podcast every week. Even Ben, bless him, who is like our editor, he's grafting to get things done in time, has chased us up. Like you've not had a podcast for me to edit yet. I know you've been away. Are we going to skip this week? And I was like, look,
No.
yeah, if you need to skip this week, it's on us, like definitely. But we'll get recorded. He's like, if it's recorded, it'll be done.
Yeah,
so,
and I think when you kind of get into a habit, and this can be related to anything, like if you skip something the second time to skip something becomes easier. Like we've had this conversation with you today with swimming. Let's talk about last night. We both honestly like
we were close to divorce.
This is another example of us like pretending we have our shit together. Even my swimming last night was half an hour later than normal. But I read the post from last week where she was swimming half an hour earlier,
which is actually an hour earlier than what she was training yesterday.
So we rock up to the swimming pool. We are early. I'm like, and thankfully someone was telling me walk with her to the door. So I walked with her and I was like, go into the change room, just have a look around. Like we are here. And at that point I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna double check. By the time she came out, I was like, we've got it wrong. We're an hour early. So we're having to do the walk of shame. We're walking back to the car and we're seeing parents from like the other group and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm an hour early. And then I'm on the phone.
To cap it off, youth club, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I was on the phone to Ryan. I was like, we're an hour early. Like, I don't really know what to do. Do we just sit in the car? And mine was like, she doesn't need to go to swimming today. Like, let her go to youth club. And I was like, so we're driving home. Eve May's thinking like, she's going to youth club. Then in my head, I'm starting to have this thinking like, no, hold on a minute. She skipped last week. There was a session that she skipped the week before. We're getting into this habit where it's so easy now for us to skip. So I just pulled rank and we got home. We're literally at home for 15 minutes. And I said, you're going swimming? Because I just think like, if we keep skipping, it just becomes so much easier. And we've got into this habit and we just need to break the cycle. So she went swimming. She loved it. She swam really well. And then I went swimming later.
Yeah. So, I lost, Elly won.
Yeah. And then Ryan's like, T for me. No, I agree with mummy. Like it's mummy's idea, and I'm like, thanks, like making me look like the bad guy.
No, supportive. I said I supported it. I got it. You know, pushing mum and stuff like that. No, I think you're right. It is one of those, and we see this like with people when it comes to their training side of things. You know, like how easy is it the first time to hit snooze is nowhere near as easy as it is the second, the third, the fourth time, and before you know it, you've missed a week's worth of training. It is really important to become aware of how these sort of small ones.
So easy.
Yeah. So I do. Although my heart was hurt for her, I get it, and we did the right thing.
Often when we talk about like habits and things that we're doing, and this can apply to obviously the subject that we're going to talk, sometimes getting to a habit will have to feel forced in the initial stages.
Yes.
So it might feel like as if like you're having to fight your initial thoughts that you're having, but there is reason to it before it comes automatic. You're not having to think about it, but have that in mind that there is going to be a point where you're going to have that resistance against wanting to do it. But it's questioning, the reasons behind why you wanting to go down this route. Is it to prolong your life? Is it for you to feel amazing? Is it to change your life? Is it to give all you these benefits? Then often that initial fight against it is worth it.
Yeah. I think so. Then it's sort of like then moving on to that topic now of like having the deadline. So like with the way we were talking about this was because a lot of people will have a deadline or a goal in their mind. Like it could be a wedding, it could be a specific social occasion, a holiday, even like a
a running
birthday or
event,
a
you know,
running
even like
event,
a half marathon or a 5K, a 10K. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, but so it's having it's having that goal, and then it's like what happens after it. And you know, it's even like we've seen it, and this is part of the reason. And you know, we've sort of covered quite a bit this in our past podcast. It's part of the reason why we don't like the short term for a 12-week transformation, because people will set like I'm doing this for 6 weeks, I'm doing this for 12 weeks, and then it's like you see this, what happens after the after? And it's a question that like we constantly ask in our clients is like, well, what would happen after your 6 months? Like our goal is always to be creating habits. I think that's the most important thing. Like if you look at anybody that is probably achieving what you would deem a success in a particular area of their life, it's probably not down to them having a specific deadline of a date with a goal. It's probably a lot more related to the habits that they have in place that have created the result as part of those habits.
Yeah, it's a forever thing, and it's like the end goal is, you know, it's about the quality of life and the overall health and happiness. And we love goals, like you know, we do love goals. We think they're a great tool to kind of help someone kind of, especially at the beginning stage, but also as again, and the beauty about goals is they can be adaptive, they can be personalized, and you can change them. And I keep getting the question, isn't it funny, because Eve May was asking me this morning, is after you've done the triathlon, are you going to keep cycling? Are you going to keep swimming? And like my initial response, like I want to, I hope so, because I've really started to enjoy like the swimming side to it, which I never thought I was going to, despite. But also like the cycling, and I'm finding it really therapeutic. So it's why are you laughing?
Just laughing about a conversation I had yesterday with James. So so like Elly's doing all this training. I was like, yeah. I said, I've got the kids. and then someone else asking me about Elly, she's going to get into the cycle. I was like, well, but I hear about all these people doing like 2-hour cycles for cycles. Like, hold on a minute, am I gonna have the kids on my hold on, I want a rain check on these goals.
I've chosen a goal that's like long distance cycling, long distance running.
That's it.
Yeah. But and that's where like we see it, and it's so like we love our clients working towards goals because it's great for them to see that self-accomplishment and fulfillment. But I would say a really high percentage of what we see is when someone has met their goal, it's that kind of like case of, oh, I've done it now. Oh, okay, I'm going to stop now. I've reached what I wanted to reach. And then what you tend to see is then they kind of like, then it'll gradually happen. It won't happen overnight. Is that then fall back into the old habits that they had. And then it's that mental feeling that they're not then feeling really good. And so for us, it's always kind of looking at, okay, well, let's continue working. So, you know, someone who's working towards a wedding will have created these set of habits that they, you know, they've invested in themselves, they've invested that time into working towards them feeling really good about themselves. And then they reach that date, so that wedding date, they go on honeymoon, and then it's so difficult then to kind of get back on it. And it's kind of like that sense of, well, what's the point now?
Yeah.
And the point is, it's you. It's your quality of life, it's your health, it's your happiness, and you don't always need to have a date or a completion time for that. It can be a forever thing.
Yes, and I think that's where it falls down to having those sort of non-negotiables that we've talked about and implementing those as part of your life, and then anything specific towards the shorter term goal is an additional part on top of the non-negotiables, isn't it? It's like, you know, if you're someone, use the marathon thing, you're running part of a marathon, you don't want to go from you're running 3 or 4 days a week to then doing nothing straight after the marathon. Yes, you need to have a recovery straight after it, probably should relax your food, probably should give yourself a little bit of rest, but then have that baseline of, well, I still do 2 or 3 shorter runs, or I do 1 or 2 runs a week, or whatever it may be. But it's almost recognizing of like, I have a baseline that helps me maintain my health and my happiness, And then if I want to push a bit harder, so it's even like the holiday goal, you know, it's coming up to summer now. A lot of people have a summer related goal. And it's like, you can still build foundations now that are going to be there forever, whilst adding in a little bit more that, even if it's not sustainable, it's not what we'd like to do longer term, but it's going to give you that boost. It is going to make you feel a bit more confident. It is going to make you feel a bit happier and healthier before you go away, or when you're on the beach. We totally get that. You know, we do it before we go on holiday. Like before we went to Dubai, we were probably a little bit tight with our food, not having quite as much snacks in the evening. But it wasn't extreme. But it means that when we got back, it didn't mean we just kicked the arse out of everything and thought, you know what, we're not going to bother anymore. And it was like, actually, let's go back to those non-negotiables.
Yeah, I think if you were to look at, you know, like a standard typical day, I think the fundamentals or the foundations to anyone's day is kind of having structure. We all know that movement has... You keep making me laugh today. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's because when Elly's like structure, and I'm like, Elly is...
I love a routine. I do love a routine.
Very, very structured.
But what I'm saying is, we all know, for anyone, whether it doesn't have to be working towards a goal, is movement in your day-to-day is going to have so many benefits. And now I'm just talking about basic movement, you know, walks, standing, things like that, is going to have, you know, benefits to you cardiovascularly, to your heart and lungs, to your muscles, to your posture, to mental health. So we know that, and we also know the fundamentals with the food that we're eating. So these are the actions that we're all doing day to day. And so, oh my God, I'm doing it. So I was losing my train of thought.
Hydration.
Yeah, so these are all of your foundations. So when you do have a goal, and so, because it's like, you don't always need to be on a weight loss goal to have a goal. You don't always need to lose weight. You don't always need to kind of go on holiday to have a goal. These are just things that you're doing day to day. And it's the question with whether the actions that you're doing day to day are there to help you feel the best about yourself, or the actions that you're doing day to day that are taking you away from feeling good about yourself. And that's like a question. And then it's asking yourself, do you have like a structure or routine in your day where you're going to get a bit of movement in? You're going to like look at your food. Are you nourishing your body and brain in the right way, so you're getting the nutrients that you require? So then when you are working towards a goal, that it becomes easier, because then you can look at exactly what you're doing. Okay, well, with my movement, I'm going to increase it gradually. With the food side, I'm going to get a little bit more tighter. I'm really understanding now, I'm going to hit my protein and things like that. And that's where it becomes so automatic and habitual, because it's just a foundation. So when you are working towards, and I'm just going to use a holiday, for example, when you get back from holiday, you're thinking, do you know what, actually, I'm going to go back to my day-to-day habits, because these are the habits that I know that are going to help me from a lifespan, going to make me feel really good.
And they're the habits that
so it doesn't feel like as if you're
yeah.
doing anything that you can't be consistent with. It's not realistic, because it's just your normal way of living. And that's why I think so many people struggle, is because when they're working towards their goals, they're doing things that are so crazy and possibly extreme that they can't live up to it forever. And then you then get that back full after you've hit the deadline. I can't keep doing it because actually it wasn't making me feel really good. I just physically got into shape that I wanted to, but it's not a life.
Yeah, because we also see a lot of the time, like even clients who've been with us for a few months, and then they've got a big holiday coming up, and they've seen like great results and stuff, and they're like, the question will be like, what do I do on holiday? I'm like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want you thinking about anything else. Oh, but won't I do it? Like, no, you won't undo months of progress. But then most of them, even though we'll call them in like a day or two after they get back, so that we can just help them get back on it. As much as we hate that thought, it's like, do you know what, we don't want a 1 week or 2 week holiday turn to a month. They will then go away and be like, do you know what, actually, I didn't feel like I needed to kick the arse out of the food and the drink, because I've actually become more, I've become more aware of the fact that actually when I eat crap food, I feel crap. My digestion's worse, my sleep's worse, my mood's worse. So I actually just enjoyed, I had a few more drinks than I normally would. I probably did eat a little bit more calories, but I didn't feel like I needed that gluttony or that overconsumption and underactivity because I was quite enjoying how I felt. And that is when you know you've made like life-changing results and lifestyle-based ones, because you then no longer doing it because you're on a program or because you're hitting a goal. You're doing it because you know how much better you feel.
You feel good from it, and that's what's in. It took me a while to get to that point, but that was the point I was getting to, and that's what's really important. And for anyone to kind of question, you know, like, how do I know if I'm doing things that are right? Is, well, how are you feeling after doing things? You know, becoming aware of everything you're doing, like, you know, the foods that you're eating. The question is, what's your appetite like? What's your mood like? What's your energy levels? What your sleep's like? Same with the exercise. What's the reason behind why you're exercising? You know, is it a form of punishment, or is it a form of enjoyment? You want to feel healthier. You're working towards feeling fitness, or you're working on your heart and lungs health. You know, really become to understand the reasons behind why you do things and the choices that you're making. Is it to improve your quality of life? Or when it comes to the punishment, that's when I'd be questioning like your relationship with these things, and that's the area that you should be working on.
Yes, and I think that's where it sometimes is getting comfortable asking yourself these questions rather than just drifting through, and it's also not conforming to societal norms that we should.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, if we had a choice with working with people, it wouldn't be about even trying to be tighter just for the holiday, or thinking that actually we don't care about the holiday. We want you to feel confident all year round. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason why we can't do that, all of us, because what you want to do is get yourself living that lifestyle where you're not reliant upon if you feel a bit bloated, because normally we can then relate to why we're bloated because we become more self-aware. Maybe it was something we ate, maybe our stress levels are higher, maybe we've not drunk enough water, because you become so much more in tune with your body because you're constantly tracking, assessing, adapting how you feel. And that's the core of it, is how we feel.
And I think, like, being honest, like, we've just got back from Dubai. I
did go as well. I just don't have the tan. Everyone's looking at us like, this isn't the club. I'm like, did you two go on the same holiday? And I'm like, yeah, and we had the same amount of sun.
I think, like, Ryan at the moment loves to talk. I can't, like, shut him up at the moment. You're laughing to chat. So, yeah, we drank every day in Dubai, like, probably a lot. And we probably didn't have as much colour in our diets as we would normally do. So when we're on the way home, or we've arrived back home, it's completely normal. And this may relate to you, is you kind of don't feel like you want to go out and do your workout, or you kind of don't want to have the food that you originally were enjoying. And that's completely normal. And the one thing that I would really want to express is, when it becomes to your expectations, is keep them low at the beginning to kind of get you back into it. Like, do things that are going to help you. So keep your expectations low, and just kind of, and like I said at the beginning, is like forcing yourself back into that routine again, because naturally, even after a week, I find it hard to kind of get back into my routine. So my first run that I got back into, I was just kind of, do you know what? Don't know how far I'm going to go. Whether it's 4 or 5k, I'll take it. I'm just going to keep my heart rate low. I'm just going to go out and just get some movement to my body. And you know what? It felt so good after I've done it. Yes, it wasn't my quickest run. It wasn't my furthest run, but I had got it done. And what I did find is then when it got to my next workout, it was so much easier for me to go and do it, because I didn't have that initial fight as much as I did do it at the first stage. So it's really kind of like low expectations. Yes, you're going to have to maybe force yourself back into, be aware that you may feel this way, make it easier for yourself with the foods, etc., etc. Do things that can help you feel really good about yourself.
Yeah, and when you're doing that, that builds momentum, and I think that we should never underestimate those marginal gains. And I know sometimes if you're watching all of our podcasts, we can sometimes come across like a broken record because it works every time. It's like those little things. If you're constantly, every day, can tick one thing that you did that was a win, how much better will you feel, rather than setting that bar too high, like Elly said, and then all of a sudden you're frustrated, you're fed up, you're annoyed, you're resenting what you're doing because you didn't achieve that bar that was up there. You lower the bar down here, it's like, oh, well, that's a stepping stone. Tomorrow the bar's there. And before you know it, 2 weeks down the line, the bar's significantly higher than where you had originally set it and failed, but you're achieving it without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And I think in a nutshell, that was pretty much all we wanted to cover with it, really, wasn't it? It's about creating those healthy habits. It's about consistency. And it's about, really, I think an important thing is recognizing why we're doing what we're doing, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're working towards a goal, you don't need to change your whole life for that goal. You just adapt certain things.
Yeah.
Makes that such an easier way to do something.
And on that note, we are going to finish it up there. If you do have any questions, any comments, we would love your feedback on these. We've got plenty more ideas on what we're going to be sharing over the coming weeks. So please do make sure you tune into the Ryan Elly Show. Thank you. Cheesy wave.